Good morning, everyone. So welcome to the 22nd edition of the CII ICT East. It's been a long journey, and we are back on site after the COVID for the first time for both the days. And thank you so much for your presence today. There would be, for the next couple of days, many sessions. And we have about 40 speakers who would speak for the couple of days. I hope it would be beneficial for all of you. So before we start, I would just like to make an announcement that, this is an IT, and technology conference. So we thought that why not give some artificial intelligence into it also. And I thank the students and the professors of the GMIT College. So they actually helped me in, getting the hostess for the day and tomorrow. So I would welcome our hostess, Vidya. Can we have Vidya on the stage, please?
Hello, everyone, and a very good morning. I'm Vidya. Hello.
So can we have Vidya?
Hello, everyone, and a very good morning. I'm Vidya. Welcome to the inaugural session of 22nd edition of CII ICT East. I must thank everyone for joining us today. Hope you would be benefiting from the discussions over the next 2 days. Now I would like to welcome the dignitaries on the dais. To begin, let us welcome Mr. Rajiv Kumar, IPS Principal Secretary, Department of Information Technology and Electronics, Government of West Bengal. Sir, may I request you to kindly join us on the dais? Mr. Kumar, West Bengal has recently seen an influx of investments in IT sector. Let me now request Dr. Dipankar Chakrabarti, Chairman, CII Eastern Region, ICT Task Force and Executive Director and Data Control Office Leader, PricewaterhouseCoopers Private Limited, to come up on the dais. Joining us is Mr. Shekhar Sharma, CEO and Managing Director, NTT Global Data Centers and Cloud Infrastructure India Private Limited, and NTT Communications India Network Services Private Limited, requesting your presence on the dais, please. We are privileged to have Mr. Deepak N.G., Managing Director, India, Dassault Systems. May I request you to kindly join us on the dais. Now may I request Mr. Sandeep Goel, Managing Director, Moglix, to kindly join other dignitaries on the dais. Our distinguished speaker lineup continues with Mr. Souvik Banerjee, Global CEO Products, Technology, and Digital Services Resolve Limited, UK. Welcome, Mr. Banerjee. Requesting you to please join us on the dais. Now may I request Mr. Sanjay Sen, Co-Chairman, CII Eastern Region, ICT Task Force and VP, IT Services, ITC Limited, Mr. Sen, to join everyone on dais. I would now request Mr. John Kuravilla, Regional Director, CII Eastern Region, to kindly join the guests on the dais. I would request the attendees to scan the QR code near you to refer to the speaker profiles and other details of the conference. I would now request Dr. Dipankar Chakrabarti to kindly deliver the welcome address and take forward the proceedings. Over to you, Chairman. Hello, everyone, and a very...
Good morning. Good morning to you all. It's nice to get, introduced by AI Vidya. It's a surprise to all of us. And the session is basically what we are discussing today is reimagining the business excellence through digital and where the AI part is quite well gelled in. Mr. Rajiv Kumar, IPS, Principal Secretary, Department of Information Technology and Electronics, Government of West Bengal. Mr. Shekhar Sharma, CEO, NTT Global Data. Mr. Deepak NG, Managing Director, Dassault Systems India. Mr. Shouvik Banerjee, Global CEO, Products, Technology and Digital Services, Resolve Limited. Mr. Sandeep Goel, Managing Director, Strategy and Operations, Moglix. Mr. Sanjay Sen, Co-Chairman, CIS Region, ICT Task Force, and VP IT Services, ITC Limited. Distinguished representatives from government and industry, respected speakers and guests. We have over 40 speakers. After a long time, we were doing a physical meet, and it's really encouraging to see so many speakers accepted our invite and be here. Friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, warm welcome to you in this 22nd edition of ICT East. I was discussing with Sumit, when it started, the ICT East, it was a very small event. I mean, we actually were, Sumit and I worked in a small room for 2 to 3 days to host this event. From there, today it's a long, long journey. And we have seen this particular event had created huge amount of investment potentials, networking, and bringing in more and more business, both B2B sides and B2G. So we'll be hoping the same thing in this edition also. The theme we have in this year, reimagining business excellence through digital transformation. Digital transformation is a very loosely used word, and it's being used everywhere today. And it's very easy to paint all your work with a digital and make it a digital transformation as a word. But that's not true. It's very easy to say what it is, but how it is the challenge. And these sessions we have next 2 days will try to unfold those black boxes so that we understand how we should proceed towards doing a digital transformation, which actually brings in business excellence. If I really give you some statistics, our last CEO survey, global CEO survey, which we did, there we get a very surprising outcome. 40% of the CEOs, global CEOs, are saying that they will be irrelevant. The companies will be irrelevant in next 5 years if they are operating just like this. So the present way of operating will not take them to survive for next 5 years. And it's not, in one sector of the industry, across industry. I mean, telecom says 46% of the CEOs told that they are in doubts. IT technology says 40% of their CEOs are in doubt. Similarly, if you see, even manufacturing says 43% of the CEOs are in doubt. So what the things which are changing it? The major thing which is changing them is the technology disruption. 50% of the CEOs are saying that technology disruption is one of the major forces which will make them irrelevant very soon. Along with that, few things are very, very important. They are saying the changing customer preference. Why customer preference is changing? Because customers are becoming digital. I mean, today, in any retail chain, it's impossible for supporting your customer if you do not understand how they are seeking the benefits of that product. And that's completely on digital. So the customer preference got changed. We are seeing a huge amount of regulatory change, humongous amount of reporting. Climate change is putting ESG in the forefront. And all of them, if you see, culminating towards an excellent digital transformation pathway which makes your business reimagination. So what we are saying? We are saying that CEOs are not very confident the way they are currently working will survive. We are seeing changes in regulatory parlance. We are seeing changes in climate. I mean, climate change is always there, but the way people are currently looking at the things in a different manner, trying to make a sustainable investment is changing the whole path. You go to the PE firms, they are clearly saying we will invest in a company which has more sustainable future. And to do that sustainable future, you have to fall back upon to digital. So digital is actually proliferating every industry. And I say in many of my consulting sessions, lending a sentence from one of the companies, we all also do digital. So it's not really only doing a manufacturing or doing a retail or doing a telecom. The digital is cutting across. And what are the challenges we are facing? It's as I started with that, it's very easy to say I am doing digital. People digitizing their papers, saying they are doing digital. Creating one app, they are doing digital. No. Digital transformation is a holistic change. I mean, it's basically from caterpillar to a butterfly. That's what we are looking at. So it's basically no return way. So if you have that transformation done, you can't come back anyway. So you need to really think through what all gadgets, what all artifacts you need to work with. And we have a huge amount of digital tool sets at our hand. Anytime you go to that, Gartner's future emerging technology graph, you will see too many technologies are moving around. Which all we can use? That's the very important point. Which technology will make my organization better is the point. And please do not go into the peer pressure. That company is doing AI, so I have to do AI is not the way. Is AI beneficial for you? And generative AI is now talk of the town. And I'm sure I have a plan to do a word cloud after this 2-day session, and I'm sure I'll get the largest word count as AI, then probably the data, and then probably digital transformation. And so we are at the cusp of really changing our business model through AI. And that makes the whole system completely unstable. The equilibrium is moving, shifting. So the equilibrium which was there before pandemic has shifted after pandemic at least say 50% from the initial position. Now it is moving completely differently and tangentially. So what it requires, 3 things which we are seeing very, very important. Think beyond digital. Reimagine company's position in the world. So you should become innovative. You should bring in skill sets which makes you more and more working towards digital modifications and transformation of your operating systems. Become agile and make things simplified. Very, very challenging. I'm telling you, we did some boardroom surveys. The major hindrance is complexity of the way people take decision. Another hindrance is thinking of taking any decision takes a huge amount of time. One, because of cooperation from the top management on the digital front, and second, funding. So you need to really think through how those two can be brought in to the whole innovative perspective. And third, very important, look at the climate differently, start data synthesizing, understanding, making sense of data, and create models so that you can bring in people who are making the environment sustainable and making it better for the future generation. So if you see our sessions, you will see you have a very, very curated sessions which makes this digital transformation easy to understand by the common people, by the industry at large. So we'll start with the business excellence definition. We'll go to how digital is making that business excellence available. What are the different cost perspective which you need to look at for digital transformation? How a cloud transformation is making things better. And finally, we all know data, what is taking the new fuel of the current organizations, how those can be protected, trusted, and useful for making a better decision towards your digital transformation. So that's all we'll be having in these 2 days. We have 40 odd speakers. They are all luminaries in industry. We'll be surely having a very interesting deliberations in these 2 days. So I wish 22nd edition of ICT East is a grand success. Thank you. In our today's panel, in the opening session, we have Mr. Shouvik Banerjee, who is Global CEO, Products, Technology and Digital Services, Resolve Limited, UK. Shouvik is my close friend since long, but I have to tell about him customarily. Shouvik is an Indian entrepreneur and former cricketer. Note that, former cricketer, currently serving as the Global CEO of Products and Technology at Resolve Limited, UK. He was also a former Chief Technology Officer at Tata Click and Tata Digital. Welcome to you, sir. We have Mr. Sandeep Goel, Managing Director, Moglex. Sandeep is the Managing Director, which is India's largest B2B commerce firm for industrial supplies. It is a 7-year-old company, currently valued at 2.6 billion. He has over 25 years of experience in setting up, managing, acquiring, integrating business, and he has been an entrepreneur since 2008. He is also very, specialized in enterprise software and IoT space. Mr. Deepak NG, Managing Director, India, Dassault Systems. Again, a very close acquaintance. We worked quite a long period of time. He has over 2 decades of professional experience across different industries in technical, sales, and leadership roles. He started his career in a manufacturing company as design engineer, applying the best practice of CAD, CAM, PLM solutions. He joined Dassault in 2011, and now he is the Managing Director of India, Dassault Systems. We have Shekhar Sharma, CEO and Managing Director, NTT Global Data Centers and Cloud Infrastructure India Limited, NTT Communications India Network Service Private Limited. He is the CEO and Managing Director, and prior to the integration, he was leading the CI business at NTT India and was a Deputy CEO erstwhile NTT NetMagic. He is a Bachelor of Laws and MBA in Management Operations. Finally, we have Mr. Rajiv Kumar. We all know him. He's really supporting this ICT East. When we conceptualized it, probably 6 to 8 months back, this session, first thing we did, we took an appointment from him to understand what is his thought process and how he's thinking of this year's ICT East. And we probably had taken lots of his inputs into it to make this happen. Thank you, Mr. Rajiv Kumar. He's IPS Principal Secretary, Department of Electronics and Technology Service Limited. And last but not the least, Sanjay. He is my co-chair. We work together, but still, as an introduction, I already told he's the VP IT Services, ITC. Sanjay had done marvelous, different IT-related changes in the organization. We will hear from him today. So, let's start the session. May I request Shouvik to kindly share your perspective. Over to you, Shouvik.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, thank you. I think the coffee takes a little bit of time to sip in. Honorable guests from various industries, Honorable Principal Secretary, Honorable Co-Chair and Chair, Dipankarda, and all the leadership on the stage. It's an absolute pleasure to open up this conference where my heart and my head has had relationships over the last few years. Let me, at the onset, say what ICT does, what CII is trying to do. I have been associated over the last 7-8 years with CII. Whenever I am in the country, in the city, it gives me an immense pleasure. You know what it does is it germinates very interesting, thought-provoking conversations which people take away. And the conversations doesn't stay in ITC Shonar. It goes back in the offices where the thought starts germinating. Now, when I read this topic, reimagining business excellence, and to take cue from what Dipankarda was saying is the redundancy of 40% of generic CEOs and the work they do. Now, I run an organization with my background in AI over the last 23 years, having built very many things after I came back to this country. Just to name a few, Jio and the Tata Click ecosystem, the Tata Digital, Tata New, BB, 1MG, all of that, I realized there's a lot of AI and data, but at the onset, the new age organizations are reimagined. Right now, I probably have observation of about 20 odd different cultures and countries where various different CEOs I meet, I converse. The top agenda at the top of their head when they are trying to reimagine their entire organizational design, they don't call themselves CEOs anymore. They call themselves Chief Excellence Officer. They call themselves Chief Emotional Officer. Because what has happened post-pandemic, the emotional quotient of an employee is at the highest level. Observations such as NPS and CSAT across the world are starting to take a back seat. And what is starting to take a front seat? It's a very simple index. It's called the happiness index. What is happiness at workplace? We never imagined how happy or how sad or how irritated or how angry or how we go through 60 to 70 to 80 hours of being at a workplace in a 168-hour week. Our weeks are 168 hours. If you give 7 hours, take 42 hours out of it, you're left with 120 plus hours, out of which 60 to 70 hours you spend time in your workplace with your colleagues. Suddenly the CEOs and the leadership across the world is realizing the employment index, employee satisfaction index is starting to take a backseat. Post-pandemic, working remotely, hybrid model is still ongoing. I repeat, bulk of the leadership, bulk of the enterprise organizations, Fortune 500s, are starting to reimagine one of the core KPIs, Happiness Obsession Index, HOI. What does happiness mean? It literally means how you are measuring a framework and creating the employment model. If you have a happy employee, you get more productivity, period. If you're a happy employee, you get more sustainability. If you're a happy employee, there is more retention and less attrition and churn. That's the operating model we are observing. Now you can say, Shavik, what's AI and technology got to do with it? Well, here's the conundrum we are dealing with. Here is a device. Here is an intelligent brain. If I take the operating system out and the intelligent apps out, it's an intelligent brain talking to a dumb device, using a thumb which gets operated by the brain. I will repeat again so that it immerses in yourselves. An intelligent brain moves my fingers, operates with a dumb device, and it has an intelligent operating system and a set of intelligent apps. Every human being is using this at workplace also. Now, if you give the employee another set of tool which is linear and non-intuitive, what is the employee going to do? He or she is interacting fundamentally behind what he or she is doing at day-to-day, every hour of the life. I bring that whole thought process to one model. If you reimagine organizational design, it starts from the mindset. The leadership drives mindset. Next step, which is observed across the world, is once you decide that you want to change the operating model or organizational design, you use technology and tools. Still technology is an enabler, still AI is an enabler. Yeah, only difference is PPT.coms are generated by the GPTs of the world and LLMs of the world for leadership today. The beauty is, when you give and empower that at a workplace with the sophisticated tool set, sometimes they are overwhelmed. So when you do organizational design, the reimagination of business excellence starts appearing from the top to the bottom in some organizations and bottom up to some organizations. Netflix is bottom up. Google is top down. Technology companies such as Microsoft is bottom up. Organizational design and reimagining and impacting and creating productivity in form of business excellence is not only profitability. Today, there is a buzzword that startups are extremely buoyant. Firstly, that word is a little bit overwhelming because first you have to be surviving for 7+ years to be a business. You are never a startup, you're a business. Whether you start today or whether you are a 15 or 30-year-old or a 150-year-old like my ex-employer Tata Group, your entire operating model starts on trust. Your reimagination's core is still trust. And then you disperse the trust across employees, across your entire organizations, then to your customer. You cannot implement any matrix unless your customers' matrices are employees' matrices. That's one part of reimagination. Excellence is now getting defined in 3 different pyramids. One, the ability to not only work 100-hour weeks. Productivity is not only the instrument of excellence. Productivity is one of the instruments of excellence. Happiness index, number 2. Number 3, which is very, very important, is the ability to remain in an organization where disruption is not making you disturbed. Sometimes transformations are heavy. It changes. You do not want to change. But the 3 piece parts, the ability to absorb, ability to adapt, learn, and implement. It starts from the human brain. If you do not have that model of attitude within the reimagination and excellence journey, then disruption takes a backseat and core decision making and profitability takes a front seat, which is prima facie now a sustainability model. That's the core model in terms of where we are. I will finish with one simple thought. If you want to do any reimagination impacting business excellence through the ability of transformation, remember 3 things, which is what I have learned, continuously learning and observing whichever part of the world you are. Your emotional quotient in your employee is at par with your intelligent quotient. Your EQ, you have to let the employee be emotional, or else there is no loyalty, or else there is no concept of trust. Your EQ is at par with your IQ as part of reimagination of business excellence in this transformative world. 2, tools doesn't take over. You still command the syntax. You still command the fabric of usage. Yes, you will be a slow learner. Some employees will learn fast, but that's okay. Give that ability an amount of time. Nothing has been achieved with supreme velocity within days. It takes time. Number 3, measure. Measure when you have achieved milestones in transformation. Transformation journeys are complex. It's heart-wrenching. It stems from the top. People give up. Post-COVID, it has become the most critical model and framework. Number 3 is create a happiness index. I reiterate, NPS and CSAT can take a backseat. Happiness obsession index for an organization going through reimagination, business excellence at the core, using disruptive tech and AI has to be born at the core. At the end of the day, human beings build businesses, not your ERPs or Gen AIs. At the end of the day, both these sides of our head lead global businesses and make them profitable and a happy workplace. On that thought, I will take your leave, and I congratulate ICII and ICT to have a fantastic conference, and back to my chair.
Thank you, Shobhik, for such an excellent speech. And you already started counting that AI word. I counted almost 100 times you told about that. And the interesting thing you told in excellence is the softer side of the excellence. Thank you very much for starting with this session. Now I will request Mr. Sandeep Goel, Managing Director, Strategy and Operations, Moglix Labs India Private Limited, to kindly address the crowd. Over to you, Sandeep.
Good morning. Probably coffee has still not taken the effect which Shobhik was talking about. Good morning. Good morning. That's better. Just to introduce Moglix, we are one of those startups which have survived 7 years. So we kind of touched upon our introduction. So proud to survive 7 years. It's a crazy world. I think those of you who have experienced startup world, it's a crazy world. A quick brief on Moglix as well, just so that the session gets contextualized. We are a B2B commerce company. To explain it simply, you can look at us as Flipkart or Amazon for industrial supplies. If you have to buy a book, you have to buy a phone, you have to buy a t-shirt, you go to Flipkart or Amazon. If you have to buy a safety shoe, a drill machine, lubricant oil, office stationery, any of these things for your factory, small or large, you can come to moglix.com. How we are reimagining future or defining the transformation is, there are 2 dimensions to it. One is organized, and second is offline. You could be organized or disorganized. You could be offline or online as a business. The business that we are in, distribution business, in India, it is offline and disorganized. And through digital, we are reimagining it to directly become organized and online. There won't be any stage where you will see the business becoming offline organized, which is the flavor you see in the Western countries. So that's about the company. Now, glad to be here in this session, speaking in front of people, I'm sure, very, very familiar, very well aware of the digital transformation and trends. So I was wondering, what should I talk about in today's session, which people have some takeaways. And then I thought I'll talk about something that I read several years back, which still drives the philosophy of digital transformation or driving excellence through digital in the current world. It's a book by an author called Alvin Toffler, and he wrote a book called Future Shock. I don't know how many, has anyone heard of the book Future Shock by Alvin Toffler? I see a couple of hands. It was a book written in 1970s, right? So almost 53 years ago. And if you read the book today, the surprising part is you will feel that the author has written it just a few years back, couple of years back, the kind of things he highlights in the book. And somehow that book became a benchmark for me to reimagine digital transformation, and I'll talk about some of those transformations, three key principles that the book highlighted. While forming your digital transformation strategy, you can keep those three principles, and I feel that for next 20 years also, if you're defining your digital strategy using those principles, you will still be on the right track. Especially those of us who have worked in the duration of 1990 till date, I think the speed at which we have seen things changing will be able to relate to the book very, very well. The word future shock, the origin is, basically what the author says is that change is arriving at a fast pace, and with time, the speed of change is increasing. So practically, the future will arrive prematurely in front of you. Suddenly, you will wake up one fine day and you will realize that future has arrived, and you will be caught off guard. You will be shocked. You will be devastated in few cases. It comes at such a speed, and we have seen many examples of that. So the author says that be ready for a future shock and define your strategy. Do not expect things to be running as status quo or as expected, right? So that's the basic theme. And in this book, which was written in 1970, the author talks about things like work from home becoming prominent, the media content which people will consume becoming highly personalized, so reference to OTTs. He talks about colonies in space, which will probably be the next. We are already getting a sense of it, right? So it talks about certain disruptions which we have seen in this journey. Now let me come to the three key aspects that the author talked about and how you can relate it to your digital transformation strategy. The first one he talked about, he said death of permanence. That means nothing is going to be permanent, and the change will start to come to you faster and faster. You will see new phenomena, you will see new theories coming in. And again, if I come back to digital area, if I look at late 90s, the era of ERPs, the whole Y2K movement. Cloud came in and we all looked at that, the cloud computing will be the reality. You won't have a server room, you won't have physical boxes in your room. Mobility came in where people talked about mobility first. And all these were late 90s, early 2000 concepts. But the other thing, if you realize, is that it's taken almost 10 to 15 years for these technologies to mature at a level where they are hygiene today. Mobility first is a reality. You'll see many e-commerce companies who have only a mobile app. They don't have a website. So you're expected to shop from mobile only. So mobile first has become a reality almost 15 years down the line. Infrastructure evolved, networks evolved, etc. So it takes time. Similarly, on the cloud, there was huge insecurity. I know my own, the head of infrastructure, when we first talked about let's move the boxes to cloud, and he says, oh, I won't be able to see my boxes. That's a huge security threat, without realizing that the box in your office is a bigger security threat than the one residing on the cloud, right? So cloud is a reality. So we've seen some of these changes. AI is the next one we are hearing, bit of a hyped up word right now, but 5, 6 years, 10 years down the line, I'm sure it will become hygiene, it will become necessity for every business. A lot of people talk about jobs going away because of AI, what will happen, and interestingly, this book also refers, and I was reading about, probably invention of electricity was a bigger disruption than AI. And I was checking how many jobs were lost after electricity got invented. Right? So it was interesting that mid-1900s, electricity got invented, 19th century, but the adoption of electricity became more and more prominent by mid of 20th century. So it took close to 70 to 100 years for electricity to come in the mainstream of industry, and it actually created more jobs. Right, so the lesson from the first theory, which was the death of permanence, was change is coming to you at a fast speed, be prepared. AI is today's flavor. 5 years, 7 years down the line, you will hear new topic. You have to be prepared as a team. You have to have innovation teams. You have to have guys watching for upcoming trends in your team. And more importantly, you have to have a team which is focusing on adoption. 70% of the applications we build today as a part of digital strategy never get used by our business users, right? So we think creation of a solution is the trophy for us. Trophy for us is a business user using that application. So that's the first theory. Second theory he talked about, very interesting again. He said society is going to be in transience, right? That's more on the society and individual front, where what he says is that the society will become use and throw, right? And examples he gives is that at that point of time, a woman keeping a wedding gown as long as she lives was the emotion, that wedding gown should be kept. His theory was that wedding gowns will become use and throw, and we see that flavor. I know in India, there are companies which give you lehenga on rent. You take a very expensive lehenga, 5 lakhs lehenga on rent, you wear it for your wedding and then you give it back to them. We are there. Talked about houses, that owning a house is a big thing. People will move into use and throw. And then he extended, interestingly, that's where it starts to meet the digital world of today. He says it will extend to relationships. You will see relationships which are use and throw, both in personal as well as professional world. And we are kind of starting to see that flavor where the attachment, and we spoke about employee experience, loyalty, motivation part. We already see that the current generation, the attachment is not to the extent where we expect it to be. So that means the mobility of your workforce will increase, churn will increase, people will change. Like it or not, we are going to face that situation where you will not see people working in single organization for 15 years, 20 years, and so on and so forth. That brings to the second topic, that you will not have enough bandwidth and time for training your people. Your applications will have to be self-explanatory. You can't have user manuals. You can't have 2-day-long training saying, hey, we are launching a new application, please come and get trained. So experience becomes extremely critical part of your digital strategy. You have to design applications where no training is required. When an e-commerce company launches their app, they don't publish a user manual. They don't publish a YouTube video saying that, hey, this is how you can buy a product, check out a product, return a product. It's all supposed to be intuitive. Right? So that's the second trend which will come in. The third trend he talked about, he said data and knowledge will be the fuel of future. And we have heard that quotation in the new age as well, where people say data is the new raw material, right? Because India is also an economy which a lot runs on data-based services. So data and knowledge will be the fuel for future is what he said. Now that's again very interesting, and it links with the churn of employees. Basic theory was that you will have lesser and lesser time and more data to make decisions. We already see that in our business, right from deciding which LSP should I be using to ship a material from location 1 to B. There's so many decisions we take, which is high volume on data. So you'll have to have systems which are helping you take decisions, right? So any system you define, you have to look at taking decision. Let me come to the knowledge part. Knowledge resides in the form of text. Right? Decisions come more on numerics, but knowledge resides more in text. And systems will need to evolve in a manner that this textual knowledge that you have in your system, you should be able to mine. And which is the biggest source of knowledge in our organization on text front? It's the email. Our emails contain maximum knowledge. Now you combine these two things. Your society has become transient. That means people are moving very often, and the knowledge is residing in emails. Knowledge transfer, all these things we talk about, but we know the effectiveness is very, very poor. Today's young employee, the day they resign, they're logged off to an extent, they'll not do any knowledge transfer. And that's where your AI system, LLM, if you've heard of the term, large language models, email is the biggest LLM residing in your company. In your digital strategy, you must have whatever, OpenAI, chatbot, ChatGPT, sitting on top of emails. When you need some knowledge from history, you should be able to extract it out of that. Those kind of systems will start to evolve. Right? And the last part which is sort of an overlaying thing on this, is the governance and security. With workforce becoming transient, you depending on digital, you will have to secure your data. The governance will have to go very, very high. So these are, to summarize, 4 or 5 key takeaways. You have to have an innovation team which is watching the future, really sharp guys who are these never settle kind of attitude guys who expect future shock to arrive. Have a team focusing on adoption. Have systems which are intuitive, no training required. Have mining done not just on numerics. We have a lot of dashboards and all, but text is where the real knowledge is residing. Start to mine that, and then put a solid governance around it. That's the summary that I wanted to bring out. It's a very, very exciting time. In fact, India adds a very unique dimension to it. Problems people have faced globally and what we face in India, India has its own unique jugaad innovation factor. And I think we'll have to take that into consideration as well while we define our digital strategy. Again, the speed at which change is going to come, the only way you can handle it is by having a solid digital transformation strategy backed with a powerful org structure. With this, I'll close my talk and leave you guys with so many sessions coming during the day. Very, very exciting conference ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandeep. You touched upon a book which is very close to my heart, Toffler's The Shockwave. He actually told technology as a roaring vortex of technology change coming into the future. We are seeing that. Just to let you know, this book got 15 prints in less than 1 year and was almost available at all the drugstores. The ad was given, if I'm not wrong, that this book is talked about by Richard Nixon, Malcolm Lohan, Buckminster Fuller. So it's a very, very interesting book. I mean, thank you for bringing that in. I will now ask Mr. Deepak NG, Managing Director, Dassault Systems, to kindly deliver your special address, sir. Over to you, Deepak.
Honorable Principal Secretary, leaders on the dais and leaders present here, a very good morning. And once again, I'm glad and thank you to CIA ICT East. I know from where it started and how it's actually shaping up, the truly reimagining is happening at everywhere, I should say, because the topic, what was identified and what was selected is nothing but which is need of the hour. So there were days where many organizations used to call it as, I need to redefine my process, I need to redefine. So the means they were aware of what they were going to do, but they wanted to do some fine tuning. But now things have changed to reimagining. The reimagining because the need or the consumer need is actually increased. So if I have to talk about any products or any solutions across the globe, there was a need to buy something, right, for any individual. It started with whatever I am buying, is it economical, is it good to, is it with having less maintenance, spending less money. Then people started about experience. Oh, I'm buying this, but I need to have a wow experience. The cell phones are not just to kind of interact with our mere communication, but can I use it for something else? What kind of experience I'm getting? Now we are getting into one more era of where most of the consumers are thinking, I have a very good technology, a robust product, which is giving me a good experience, but why am I buying? What is the purpose of buying? Purpose of buying is nothing but individuals started thinking that am I contributing back to society? Am I leaving less carbon footprint? So when you have all these aspects going across with consumers, obviously it's equally important that reimagining the business is very, very important because you are actually preparing for the future, you are developing the products for the future. So before I just share a few of my thoughts, I would like to play a video to just give a brief on Dassault Systems and how the technology is helping to reimagine the business. Can you please play the video?
Throughout evolution, instinctively, we have used tools, drawing, diagrams, models, and experiments to understand, to learn, to solve, to express, and to overcome. 3D modeling and computer simulation have revolutionized traditional drafting and trial and error testing, enabling us to tackle ever more complex challenges. This virtual world has remained largely isolated from the physical world. The virtual twin experience, this new concept, a virtual copy of a physical item, finally bridges the gap between the virtual and the real world in totality. Designers, engineers, and businesses tap into this potential to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the product development process. At Dassault Systèmes, we have taken this concept even further. The virtual twin experience, supported by the 3D Experience platform, is the world-leading solution, allowing ever closer alignment between the virtual and the real worlds. A virtual twin experience is made up of a set of virtual models that span a system in its entirety. Crucially, these models are all hosted on a single platform, allowing a range of stakeholders to interact throughout the life cycle of the system. Everyone is connected, accessing a single source of data through the lens of their own role. This is the exemplar of leveraging the virtual world to improve real-world operations. Dassault Systèmes has a 40-year legacy of innovation in the aerospace industry, which continues today as we deploy the virtual twin experience in the design, production, and operation of aircraft for the world's leading manufacturers. Whether the focus is advanced simulation of airframe structures for certification or solving the complex puzzles of air traffic control, the virtual twin experience provides the ability to rapidly explore potential scenarios, predict future behavior, and create precise solutions. The life-changing potential of the virtual twin experience is perhaps best seen in the healthcare and life science industries. Employing the virtual twin in the fight against heart disease has made huge leaps forward in innovation possible. The Living Heart project uses the virtual twin experience to facilitate collaboration. Together, teams develop highly accurate, personalized, virtual models of human hearts, removing the need for intrusive investigation, rapidly delivering new insights, and accelerating the approvals process through large-scale virtual testing programs. The virtual twin experience is transforming the construction industry globally. Government and private contractors use digital twins to improve design, construction, and operation of single structures to entire cities, as well as simulating the impact of planned projects on an existing location. Final commissioning of a large power station involves thousands of checks on equipment in hundreds of rooms, covering electrical systems, ventilation, and communications. By capturing the entire facility through the virtual twin experience, our clients generated a fully digital commissioning procedure. The complete virtual infrastructure is stored, managed, and accessed by engineers on the ground in real time, reducing commissioning time, identifying and mitigating risks, and bringing overall costs down. Manufacturing is revolutionized by digital twin technology. Factory setups can cost millions of euros. The most expensive time to fix design errors is after built-out systems physically exist. Digital twin technology allows the client, in conjunction with the design team, to visualize an entire factory, simulate its processes, outputs, and effect on the surrounding environment before ground is broken. Thanks to the virtual twin experience and the opportunities it affords, sustainable business innovation is realized across the full product lifecycle, allowing new business models to be explored which reduce risk and improve productivity. Unite the virtual and the physical world. Imagine and realize the future. A world of new opportunity awaits with Dassault Systèmes Virtual Twin Experience.
So this just to give a brief, we were talking about reimagining business. So if I have to talk about the sectors in which these changes are happening, right? I mean, if you have to take top 3 sectors: manufacturing, infrastructure, and life science. So to an extent in manufacturing, the way the most of the companies, whether it is transportation mobility, an automotive company or an aerospace company or a high-tech company or consumer packaged goods, what they are reimagining is how can I actually validate, test, perform everything virtually before even we go to the real world. That's mainly because of the need which consumers are actually asking them to come out with new products at a lesser cycle time. So if I have to say, most of the companies are now looking at virtually preparing their layout, the assembly sequence, the process planning, the logistics. So this is something which will help them not only to build a new or a green plant, but also optimize their existing plants. This is what they are looking at. Then when it comes to infrastructure, it can be a government body or it can be a private construction company. They are talking about building everything virtually to simulate and see if a building or a flyover constructed here, what are other challenges I need to kind of simulate and see? Is the acquisitions on the properties is taken care? Or if I have to put a solar panel on top of a building and then simulate and see what kind of energy it can generate. So these are the activities which are happening much before even you start thinking of construction. That means like, getting into the real world. And now the life sciences. Life sciences is something which we all have experienced during COVID times, how important a vaccination is all, right? I mean, if you go back and see those were the days where for any vaccination, it used to take easily 7 to 8 years to come out. Now, how the new companies have managed to come in 18 months because of leveraging the technology, leveraging the data, leveraging the information what they have. So for all these three sectors, if you look at a lot of our speakers spoke about the importance of the data, importance of having the right information, and importance of using the data for the decision making. So these are some things which is becoming very critical. That's the reason the concept what you saw, the virtual twin which we highlighted, right? So it's a technology or a solution which actually culmination of many application what you use. For example, like we heard from the speaker talking about the applications, right? The communication was already there. The digital discussions used to happen, the digital discussions in terms of data storing or data highlighting, and also we heard about you should not call digital just because you are actually scanning and then storing some data in a format where you can say that, oh, we are digital. No, now how can you consume that? How can you make it more automated so that the users who are actually using it, they should not feel the extra burden of doing it, right? That's exactly what is today. That means aligning a technology to your process, not just add an element of software or a solution to complicate or top up your existing process. So how can we convert that into a virtual world so that the user or the consumers will not even feel as if they're doing extra work, but they continuously work on a single platform, and which will not only help the individual users or the roles what they have got, but at the end, if you can see that there is a complete trail of entire data. That means right from capturing the market need to supporting consumers. I mean, in the entire value chain, if I have to talk in between process, you have a design engineering, you have simulation, you have manufacturing, you have suppliers, then you have your consumers. So all these people are actually connected and their contributions are happening in a single platform. So this will help us to build the data, and with that data, you're actually you're able to make right decisions. So now, as I highlighted few key things which is very, very crucial for that, right set of data. So what do you mean by right set of data? Is it something which you capture from the field or you just punch in? Now the idea is to capture from the field, so that how can we make everyone or every single user having or enabling them to have right technology. It can be as simple as accessible from your cell phone to your desktop to your laptops, but make them available so that wherever they are, whether it is online or offline, they capture the information and then they feed the right data. So this is something which actually has to be taken into consideration. Now, many of the companies are talking about IoT. I mean, what we call now is actually factories for future. So IoT technology, which you may be aware, where the concept was one, as an individual, I was actually giving my information for capturing the data, but now the machine or the equipment also has to pass on that data, so information, so that the right information on your entire process planning or your business or manufacturing execution systems can be captured. So in that context, the factories of the future is playing a major role. That means, like, every single equipment, every single process in that manufacturing has to be connected, and it has to be brought into a single repository. And not that it's playing its own role in the manufacturing area, but how this entire data can be connected to your product design. So if you look at today, the concepts of new technology is coming out with new material, coming out with new process innovation is also happening parallelly. While a set of people who are responsible for product design, product simulation, manufacturing, suppliers, there is a set of people who are actually consuming the data and trying to reimagine, trying to rebuild and see how we can actually make it more efficient. So in that context, if every single person is connected to a single platform, it allows them to reimagine for the future projects. Now, one important element which I need to highlight is the trend, what I spoke earlier about the purpose, right? It is gaining a mega momentum. It's not just to make a statement on sustainability, but I think most of the organizations are taking it very seriously and then putting their own ESG goals by when and how they want to achieve it. So now to do that, it's not easy. It's not easy, particularly in country like India, right? I mean, if I have to talk an OEM is responsible for an end product, but there are a lot of suppliers who are actually supplying the product, and they may have their own, like, patent, which they use a set of materials which may not be compatible with your own sustainability goals. So there are a lot of challenges ahead. So now to address and understand these challenges, most of the organizations are looking at solutions and technology which can also help them while designing or while actually simulation or even while manufacturing. They want to see how an application or a solution can help them to monitor their ESG goals or the sustainability goals. For example, if you are using a product, or if you are developing a product, a new material which you are discovering, so based on that material, what kind of carbon footprint I'm leaving? Is it less, or is it something in line with government policy? This is exactly what most of the companies are looking at. And then they are not only actually working with just solving their own problems, but also they have to take care of the society, right? So they have to take care, while I'm doing a very wonderful car or a cell phone manufacturing company, but based on the government and government policies, I need to also take care of how do I manufacture that. Do I have a right green building? How do I set up my plant? How do I set up my warehouse? Where do I set up my warehouse? How do I manage my logistics? What kind of vehicles I'm using for the logistics? So what kind of logistics I'm using? So these are some things which is very clear and very important for most of the organizations. So that's the reason the technology or the new era of reimagining business happening through this virtual world. So virtual world is getting better and better, and the adoption is something which is more. Now, having said that, it's equally important on using these technology very rightfully. For example, we know that just punching in or just putting the data may not help, right? But how do I collaborate not only with my suppliers, not only with my own companies, but how can I actually interact with the research organizations, whether it can be an academia, it can be a startup. So the entire ecosystem has to be connected. Now we are seeing a connection between consumers and OEMs with suppliers, and OEM with research institutes, OEM with government establishments, and also with startups. So this entire ecosystem is called value network, and if they can actually work together in a collective manner, leveraging right set of data points, I think we are heading towards reimagining for the future, because that is something which is actually needed. A very important point, and it's going to be my last portion or last piece of it. While doing so, we have to take care, or we have to create right workforce. So now we have been seeing the conventional way of manufacturing. We know how traditional manufacturing is taking place, the traditional research are happening, but the current generation, I mean, we heard, right, they are so fast. They want to do everything in very short span of time. And we can't go with the same set of education system and then straight away ask them to jump into a situation where most of the organizations are actually reimagining the way they want to serve their consumers. So it becomes very difficult. So that's the reason it's equally important to build the workforce of the future by which they get an access or they get information associated to what they want to kind of contribute or what they are expected to contribute when they actually get into the job. So this we have been seeing a lot. Most of the government initiatives, most of the government private organizations, they are working very closely with their whatever capacity to support the workforce of the future, and they have to be kind of taken into consideration because we see this is happening at a very small area. For example, if I talk about Calcutta, Bangalore, Pune, Mumbai, Delhi, so the universities and colleges are actually very closely associated and then they know what's required. But country like India, the advantage what we have is our own education system plus the population, right? If we have to spread this message across, this digital transformation should also happen through industries to support our education institutions so that they can actually take advantage and they can leverage the right system what they want to use and what they want to kind of like, further contribute for the manufacturing or any organization which they are going to join. So this is something which is, in a small note, I just wanted to highlight and not to just mention, these are the things which is, I'll just stop it here. We started with smartphones, people wanted smart homes, and then they said we need smart products, and then organizations said, okay, to build this we need smart factories. Now again, it's a circle, right? Why are you building smart factories? Again, you want to kind of like, give a very nice smartphones. So it's kind of becoming a complete circle and also helping or rather throwing a challenge to industry saying that you have to be innovative continuously. So the innovation is the key, and for that innovation, reimagining the way you do business is key, and to reimagine the business, it's equally important to have a right data points. And where do you store and manage the data points? Having your own virtual twin of your design, process, and collaboration is equally important. So this is what the future is heading to, and I'm fortunate Dassault Systems is contributing to most of the organizations who are leveraging this technology and then contribute. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deepak, for your very interesting speech. Data across the value chain is not the point. You are talking about data across the ecosystem. That's a very, very important point. And your last circle actually reminded me circle of the lives of Elton John. Thank you very much for that. Now let me request Mr. Shekhar Sharma, Chief Executive Officer, NTT Global Data, to kindly share your views.
Hi, good morning, everybody. It's still morning time. I guess I'll start off with a brief presentation. So, my friends here talked a lot about, what is required in the current situation, like in the transformation age that's so changing so rapidly. So, I'm going to speak more about what we as an entity, as a company, we are doing in India and other parts of the world to really make these things happen. Yeah. So today is about business excellence. We're talking about leveraging technology advancements and focusing on streamlined digital backbone. So basically, and I'll be talking about our company, and just to give you a brief on what we are doing and how it is basically kind of touching the what other companies are doing here and how we are helping them across the globe. So, so what is NTT? So basically NTT stands for Nippon Telecom and Telegraph. Nippon is Japan. So I think you've seen NTT in different flavors in India. Earlier it was here for Docomo, then we were into some kind of telecom services here in the corporate sector, things like that. So we offer a full stack of services, right from base level infrastructure right up to where customers and applications are used, right? So that's NTT Data. So today I head the data center and network side of business. So I'll just be talking about how technology is basically what we are bringing across the table. While we talk about what is required in the ecosystem to be sustainable, to stay for a long time, what are we doing in real time in India, and which is really kind of helping us and the basically the ecosystem. So NTT, as we talked about, we are like the global top 5 in the IT services. We are around $142 billion in global revenues, $3.6 billion in R&D. So we spend a lot of time and effort in the R&D side. So if you go to, in Japan, we have a huge R&D center where a very futuristic kind of, futuristic systems, futuristic thoughts are being like provoked. And we do kind of come up with very, innovative stuff, which sometimes is ahead of time. So, we stop, like Docomo, when it launched, its services were real ahead of time. But, but transformation has happened so fast, like one of the speakers spoke about that, those things become obsolete and they're even better apps right now. So NTT, we have around 310,000 people across the globe, and we are servicing around 80 countries. We have heritage of 150 years. Now, we talked about being there and being relevant and staying there. So, I think I'm good, actually. So, being relevant and being good. So, surviving for 150 years and, still being there and still being relevant, I think it means a lot. So, I think it's understanding what is happening across us. We adapting to what is happening. Those are those things that we understand and transform, right, and very quickly, so that we are very relevant to what is there. So, apart from that, I'll just move to the next slide. So, we are basically across the globe. Around 20 countries, 96 sites, 200 buildings that we are basically occupying right now, around 130, it's around 1.3 gigawatt of capacities, and that we are currently servicing. So this is also, these are basically the these are basically the hotels for data that we talked about. A lot of services and all that are being kind of housed, are basically sitting in these data centers. We don't only just provide the housing for data, but also the highways, which is the networks for the data to move around. So, and this is done across the globe. At GDC in India, so GDC means a global data center. So we have around 25 years of experience in India, proven track record of 100 time uptime, largest market share. We're leadership, top in the leadership quadrant, and we are promising to kind of invest around 2.5 billion into India. We also looking at giving back to the society and contributing on the RE side. We plan to be 100% RE neutral, RE kind of renewable energy. We're trying to put into whatever carbon neutral we're trying to be, and net zero by 2030. Flexibility in design and customization. We end-to-end migration for all the customers, and also we are basically diverse customer base with strong MNC and BFSI. And a very strong parent company background, as I talked about, NTT. Our growth in India has been like from 16 data centers to next year to 20 to 26 data centers, and basically 200 megawatts to going up to 875 megawatt of capacity. So why I'm talking about all this is basically the growth that is happening in India. Now we see cloud growth that happened very rapidly. And now we see an even bigger growth that we are looking at is AI, which is still kind of, a lot of the definition is still unknown. And actually AI has been there for a long time, but as somebody talked about, electricity being there and actually being commercialized was a journey, right? So I think that is same for AI, and I think that is the next thing that we are going to see in huge terms in India. And for NTT, it is relevant to be there, to be basically to provide the base for all these industries to really be and really grow on. And I think we do possess those kind of capabilities to bring the global kind of knowledge. Like what is happening right now in the US, in the EMEA, is like it's leading the way in a lot of sense, right? So we're trying to understand what the change is, how it is happening, how decisions are being made, and getting it back. So one of the things that as an organization we're trying to do is trying to predict what is happening in other parts of the world, trying to understand how that relates to India, and trying to be ready for that future growth, right? And in other words, people have just talked about it, the same thing in other words, that to understand, to try and be predictable, to try and predict the future through a lot of data that we have, and try to be ready for that. Regarding Kolkata, we are now very happy that I'm actually honored to be here today. We are going to be starting something in Kolkata. And this is again is a very big step for NTT. It's the first time that a major multinational data center would be coming into Kolkata. I'll just so Kolkata basically, what does it mean to Kolkata is basically, economic impact is basically, we are looking at direct and indirect, job creation. So I think that that is what will happen as data centers come in, and we are looking at, as the data centers are built up, more and more companies are going to be housed into that, and we'll see a lot of, new entrants into Kolkata also coming in. Improved connectivity, so we'll see that with, this data centers coming into Kolkata, we'll see more and more connectivity being, kind of revitalized, strengthened, so that, we see better quality of services that are being provided. We're looking at business continuity, Kolkata being a very kind of, it does not have many disasters, kind of like earthquakes and others. It's not prone to that. So we'll see more and more companies housing, more of their, systems and equipments and, back-end support into Kolkata. We hope that Kolkata would take up as a technology hub. And also we're taking up, conscious effort on the eco front, where we're looking at a lot of sustainable ways to kind of, power the data centers and kind of be carbon neutral as much as possible. And all the organizations, as we move ahead, I think this is the theme for everybody, is being carbon neutral. To really work towards sustainability is something that all the organizations are very seriously looking into. Product and services, so apart from the data centers, we do provide host rack, these kind of services that are there, you'll see as we come in. And the other thing I want to touch about is new technologies. So a lot of things was a little about our company, but now I wanted to talk about new technologies. Like, we must be vested into new things that are coming into the new technologies that are there, like forward-looking. So liquid immersion is something that is basically looking at what happens in data center. When you all do business, like basically you're housing something into your cloud, or you're running in colos, right? They consume a lot of power, a lot of electricity. So that is a lot of carbon emission. So what we try and do is basically provide, cooling at a very, with less of carbon, emission, and at a low cost, right? So this is one of the technologies where actually we immerse servers into liquids. This is the first time that anybody's done in India, and through which, you could achieve better cooling and, the better performance of servers. I'll just run a very quick video on this here.
We have a horizontal tank, or we call it as liquid immersion rack. In this rack, we fill up around 1,100 liters of coolant or a synthetic oil. This oil is maintained at a temperature of 40 degrees. In this tank, we immerse 48 servers, which in total takes about 20 kilowatts of power.
How this works is the oil from the rack absorbs heat from which are generated by the servers running. This oil is then carried to a CDU, which exchanges heat using heat exchangers into water, and that water is then pumped onto the roof into a dry cooler. Again, working at very high temperatures, the oil works at about 40 degrees. The water can be as hot as 38 degrees, and therefore it is a lot more efficient to cool the servers that are working.
Yeah, so this is some kind of a forward-looking technology, like you see servers not being on the racks, but basically dipped into some kind of an oil, which really helps in reducing, requires less of power to really cool the immense number of servers that are there. Nowadays, the servers that are run, earlier we used to have like say 3 kilowatt of servers in a server rack, right? Right now we're talking about 20, 30, 40 kilowatts. So, we as an organization have to change, all of us, to look at innovative ways. We're talking about technologies in the front end, right? But if you look behind, like if it all stacks up, and if you're not able to ensure at a larger level to be able to kind of offer these kind of services, I think doing business, offering solutions and being, it is pretty difficult at the consumer end. So the other thing we're trying to do is also not only just build data centers, but also be connected to the globe. So if you're putting on data anywhere, so the thing is the mobility. Like right now, a lot of data centers are hosted in Mumbai, or a lot of your data is basically hosted on major cities. But what we want to do is make it more, it should be irrelevant of where the data is residing. So how that can happen is to provide similar infrastructure in different states like Kolkata, and also connect them to not only through all places in India, but also globally. So we've also launched a global, a system, which is a MIS system which is connecting from Singapore, Malaysia, and then coming into Chennai and Mumbai. We're also looking at hosting that in Kolkata, but that is still subject to further, discussions and probability. So I'll just play a very short video on this.
From the shores of Malaysia to the coasts of India, Singapore, and Thailand, the MIST cable system spans a breathtaking distance of 8,100 kilometers, weaving together a tapestry of connectivity that knows no bounds. This engineering marvel, the first of its kind in India with 12 fiber pair capacity, boasts an astonishing 200 terabits per second bandwidth, paving the way for seamless data transmission, faster speeds, and a truly interconnected world. Engineered with precision and expertise, MIST is a testament to Japanese technology, combining cutting-edge infrastructure with the vision to create a global network that transcends borders and connects continents. As we witness the MIST cable system emerge from the depths of the sea, let us remember the tremendous effort, the high-speed connectivity. The possibilities are limitless. It is a gateway to innovation, progress, and transformation.
Yeah. So while NTT started by just providing telegraph across, because that was the thing then, right? Right across, like if you see right from 150 years, there's been a lot of transformation that has happened. And even as we come into India, we're looking at newer technologies, like we talked about liquid immersion, we talked about the cable. So this is the latest cable system in India, which is just connecting India to the eastern part of the world. Apart from that, we're also looking at sustainability and doing battery storage to kind of generate power in peak hours and things like that. So also we're looking at, in a lot of places, so this is all about innovation. So we're looking at, seismic dampers to places where they are, earthquake resistant, because Japan is always full of earthquakes. So we do have these technologies which will get to India to ensure that, it is very kind of a safe environment for, hosting data. These are just a few things. On the sustainable initiatives, we talk about renewable energy. These are all the things that I think all the organization would be doing as we go ahead, and it'll be not by choice, but it is definitely the need of the hour. I'll not talk about the recognitions and all that. So the other thing is, we will be launching our data centers in Kolkata as a new region. Hopefully this will act as, one of the hubs in the country, regardless of, where the data is required. Like right now, AI does not require to be near the customers. Earlier, our data centers used to be near the customers and, closer to that, because what is happening, the content in India, like this, it's exponential, right? You look at, and also the e-commerce that is happening and a lot of banking information that's floating around. It has to be close to the customer. But with the AI coming in, we believe that it could be residing anywhere and still could be used, and still could be housed any part of India. So we're looking at few other sites. We'll be expanding very rapidly into India, and we hope to be working with all of you. So thank you very much. Stay tuned for our next update. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Shekhar. I'm really honored Mr. Babul Supriyo has arrived. So warm welcome to you, sir. Let's have the keynote address from Mr. Rajiv Kumar.
Honorable Minister IT and E, Mr. Babul Supriyo, distinguished guests and speakers on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. I think it was told in the beginning that we will talk more about AI and generative AI. I would rather concentrate on a business part of it. I think we have heard a lot about. The only thing which I would talk about, I will refer to generative AI, is when they say that it is like the machines have developed a language to communicate with each other, and which is true. And that is the transformation which is going to impact all our lives. Why? Because I'll refer to a book by Mr. Yuval Noah Harari, Sapiens, where he says that the Homo sapiens, when we control the world, we are master of the planet, we have become master of the planet, and we are trying to reach out to other planets. It's not because that we are more intelligent than the other species, or we were more physically, we were more powerful, we are more strength. It was basically because we were able to communicate on a larger scale, as a tribes, and then as on a much larger scale. And the ability to combine and communicate came through the language. The language was a very important thing. And similarly, now we are in a machine world where LLMs have given the machines ability to communicate. That is a proposition. So we are at what should I say, a point, a disruptive point in the technology. I'll also, another quote, OpenAI chief scientist, Mr. Elias Sutskever, and he says that the only thing which makes these LLMs creative is through a thing called, they are using a thing called reinforcement learning, which basically means good rewards and punishment. So it's like a carrot and a stick thing. So if you do something right, if the machine or model does something right, you reward. If the model does something wrong, you punish. So, and that has brought in the creativity. So I think this all is all known to us in a general sense. So now as I said, I'll concentrate about the business part and why I feel that the digital, again, as the Minister IT and E is also here, what I speak, my thoughts, those are not the department's thoughts, those are my personal things. So I'll qualify that. So about the business part is, I feel what the good business means is giving good value for money. Is the digital transformation what is happening? Is it going in the right direction? My personal thought would be, I'm quite skeptical about it. Sometimes we are using technology for the sake of it. It might seem to some of you, it might feel counterintuitive that why I'm talking like this. I'll explain to you in a little detail. So when we talk about the consumer experience, say the Amazons or the Zomatos or the Ola or Uber of the world, they made consumers' life much easier. But if we just scratch beneath the surface, we see we are creating monopolies. Tomorrow what is happening is, if you talk to a taxi driver who's running a Ola Uber, or a Zomato, a restaurant owner who's connected with Zomato and Swiggy, or a supplier who's supplying on Amazon, I'm sure right now ITC doesn't feel the pain, but later on when Amazon becomes too big, or the only thing, they take away they are the ones who become the dominant player, and they are the one who are controlling the ecosystem. I feel the digital transformation technology should not control the ecosystem. It should be an enabler. And that is if you talk to if once you take a drive somewhere, or if you order food from a Zomato, you ask the boy, you ask the restaurant owner, both of them they are not happy with the ecosystem, but the ecosystem is too big. The technology has taken over. This is not the way we look and we envisage our technology to be. It's a partner, it's an enabler, but it's not the one who's trying to boss around. And that is the reason that we fear AI more. As they say, when intelligence grows, and in case if it becomes a boss, we are in for it's not a very happy, it will not be a happy ending. So my thought would be the digital transformation is important, but is important only if we create good businesses. Good business means that all the stakeholders, the suppliers, the consumer, and especially the value should go to the person, the maximum value should go to the person who's creating value. Not, we were trying to reduce the middleman or remove the middleman, but we are creating monopolies in this thing. This we need to, as you people are all CEOs and entrepreneurs who drive their organization, you must understand what ultimately at the end of the day is the stakeholder. A good, honest business means the person who's creating value gets rewarded the most. The person who's taking risk gets rewarded the most, not the technology service provider. What I'm trying to say, we must understand the technology's place under the sun. These are my thoughts, and the other thing which I would say is that I hope ICT 2024 we see more ladies in the room, not because the ICT invites them, but by the virtue of the fact that there are more CEOs, there are more entrepreneurs, and with all this, and I'll thank CII for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rajiv Kumar. I mean, you actually told about the dark side of the story, and yes, responsible AI and responsible digital is one of the major theme today. Thank you very much. May I request our Honorable Minister, Mr. Babul Supriyo, to deliver his speech on this. Sir. Sorry, I mean, it was not planned this way, but as you came within the... give a seat here.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman on the dais, everyone. I do not want to deliver my speech now. I did not at all say that. I did not want to disrupt this intelligent, the intelligent thing that was happening with the lighting of the lamp and all of that. So let this continue, and when the time comes, I'll speak. That's a better way to do it, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Sanjay, if you please conclude the session.
Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Honorable Minister. Good morning, Mr. Principal Secretary Rajiv Kumar, Mr. Shekhar Sharma, Deepak, Shauvik, Sandeep, and Dr. Dipankar Chakraborty. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a lovely session, lovely session, and it's my pleasant task to conclude that. We heard our Principal Secretary's view on both diversity and responsible technology, and also how do we break the monopoly of the so-called digital giants. Sir, we look forward for your constant guidance and what we receive every day. Mr. Shekhar Sharma, thanks a ton for creating a Kolkata data center. We really appreciate this business, and we want to work more actively with you in other engagements. Deepak, thanks a ton for coming again and again every year. In Bengal, we have lot of good educational system, and I am sure educational institutes will get benefited by your engagement with them and bringing the skills. You also spoke of data across the ecosystem. Shauvik, happiness obsession index. It's a new thing that we all learn, and in an age where there are challenges in IT industry, I am sure moving from a CSAT to a happiness index will really take organization designs to a different level. Yeah, you're right. Human beings only build the businesses, not the AIs of the world. Thank you, Shovik, for your presence. Mr. Goel, thanks for your 3 words of advice. Shafi is using the app and not building the app. That's a golden word I think you uttered very beautifully. And also, email is the biggest LLM, and email is also the biggest repository of all confidential information. So in fact, CII, along with Mr. Krish Gopalakrishnan is working, has set up a group on startups. We will like to work on startups, and we'll request your active involvement in that. And last but not the least, Dr. Deepankar Da, thanks for your discussion on ESG, your challenges in regulatory systems, and a principal data officer, I am sure DPDP is top of your mind. I would like to thank all the sponsors who has been ably supporting us. Special thanks to Department of IT and Electronics, Government of West Bengal, and STPI Kolkata to extend all the supports. We would like to announce that we are thinking of creating a CIO forum in the Eastern India. CII will create a task force for that. I invite all the CIOs, CTOs, CDOs, and CISOs of this region to kindly join. Registration links are available in the invite. Request you to kindly register, and we would like to have a specific dedicated CIO forum where we would like to have different clinics, data clinics, security clinics, and others, where we propose to invite people, experts from outside, and to have an engagement evenings with the CISOs. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for taking your time out. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Now I will request Mr. Babul Supriyo to do the honor for us, delivering his lecture for this session today. I don't have to introduce him. I have a one-pager introduction for him, which we discussed, and we told not to do that. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here at the Reimaging Business Excellence Through Digital Transformation, ICT East, organized by the Confederation of Indian Industry, CII. In a well-lighted room, we have a room full of enlightened men. So what Mr. Deepankar Chakravarti just said, that I'll be delivering my lecture, is an absolute misrepresentation of what I have come here for. I've come here to talk directly, get directly into what was said by our Principal Secretary, Shri Rajiv Kumar ji. I would directly get into the business of things. You are all the stalwarts in the business. You exactly know what you're doing. You have grown trees on the mind. You have created oracle of, a plethora of opportunities. On the dais, we have, of course, we have Rajiv Kumar, our Principal Secretary from the IT department. We have Mr. Shekhar Sharma, CEO of NTT Global Data. We have Mr. Deepak NG, MD of Dassault. Mr. Shobhik Banerjee, Global CEO, Technology and Digital Services, Resolve. Mr. Sandeep Goel, Managing Director of Strategy and Operations, Moglix. Mr. Sanjoy Sen, CII Eastern Region ICT Task Force,
and Vice President IT Services, Mr. Dipankar Chakraborty, Chairman, CII, and Executive Director, PwC. I have a very simple message. I have read out a couple of names of distinguished gentlemen. I see a lot of sponsors here on the board right beside me. Anyone who's already in Bengal will get everything that we from the Government of West Bengal and Department of IT can do. People who are there on the board but are not there on the ground, have not invested in Bengal, please come ahead and do it. That's my simple message. I cannot lecture people who are already, many of them have lost their hair in this business. I mean, pun intended. So I cannot give you a lecture on that. I can just tell you that, in West Bengal, we are the state which has the largest, I think the promise that we hold in the next few years, given the fact that all these places around the country where sometimes I go for my official work, sometimes I go to sing. So whether it is Gurgaon, whether it is Bangalore, whether it is Hyderabad, whether it is Delhi, whether it is Mumbai, these places are basically super saturated. They are full of, there is very little space to grow there. Yes, you can make 6 people sit in a room where 4 people are sitting, or you can make 2 more floors in your office, but these places are super saturated and it's extremely costly. Buy a cup of tea here in Kolkata and buy a cup of tea in Bangalore. Sit in a coffee shop and see what is the cost of living index, how does it differ. Here in the Bengal Silicon Valley, the cost of 1 acre of land is 25 crores. And the government has made a policy to give it out at the cost of 5 crores. That's 1/5 the price of what that land actually costs. And we have seen tremendous growth in that region over the past few years. The companies who are already here, they know that they are already here and they are getting all the help from the government. Yes, there is always a scope where the government and the IT ministry can be of more help to you. I generally do believe that we all talk about single window clearances and all that, but a single window really does not exist. All of you know, a single window cannot exist. It's a utopian dream. It cannot happen. There are many layers in a business, like you have different departments in your own office. Everyone cannot come and directly go and meet the CEO or the managing director and get the file signed there. It doesn't happen that way. So it's not about the single window. It's having a centralized system wherein you have several doors. They all lead to the table where the problems or the roadblocks can get solved. So let's look at it that way. Our Honorable Chief Minister takes personal interest to see that our IT sector grows. And from the IT, this is a very long speech, trust me. It has all the achievements that we have achieved over the last few years. I can give you printout copies of that. Most of you probably know it. The people who are not aware of it may get to know from it. I really don't want to, create boredom by reading everything out of this page that is written here. But what is very important is, Bengal, we have 26 IT parks all over the state. So you are most welcome to come here. We will assist you in every possible manner to ensure that whatever endeavors, whatever dreams you have about your business, whatever revenue returns you are expecting, whatever we can do from the government side to help you in that direction is going to be done seamlessly. Again, the word seamless does not really exist, because if it existed, then things would have been so different that most of the business would have seamlessly fallen the way they have risen. Because unless and until you meet challenges in life or in the business, you do not grow. I genuinely believe in that. I have, as a singer, I have faced several challenges in my life. Because those challenges were there, I could overcome them. So businesses are going to have challenges. You are going to have roadblocks here and there, whether it is in the government departments, whether it's in your own system. And, I think human intelligence is good enough. I have been hearing AI a lot in the last 5 months. It's become fad. People, my daughter, everyone is talking about artificial intelligence. I have, kind of got to know that I think many of us know that Einstein was one human being who probably used the highest capacity of the efficiency of his brain, about 42%. They say the rest 58% was still dark. gray matter. It existed, but it never got used. Is the man who used 42% of his brain. We mere mortals, we use about 26%. After using 26, 28% of our brain capacity, we are talking about artificial intelligence to come and take over that space. So let's push ourselves. When we need artificial intelligence, like artificial sweeteners, they are going to enter our lives. But let's not make that a fad where we leave our own intelligences behind and leave everything to machines, talking to machines. Very soon we are going to be out of work. So I want gentlemen who are there in this room who can invest in Bengal to come forward and invest. I am not going to talk to artificial intelligence or make artificial lectures or artificial talk or read out from black and white papers to tell you that, why we are the land of possibilities right now. Why, we have got several awards in the last couple of years for the way we have handled startups. You know that we have the largest number of MSMEs in the country that exists in Bengal. When it comes to startups, well, that's again a very, very fashionable word to say that we are supporting startups. But again, the biggest of industrialists, or the biggest of all of you who have big institutions behind them, who have created those institutions, I would say make it a probably it's a request. If you really want to start startups or push them, everything cannot be done by the government. So the private sector is hugely strong, and it is inclusive of what the government does. So therefore, it is important that, like we talk about Ratan Tata as being a great gentleman who actually invests in startups. So big businesses, if you do a conference in your own office, in your own institution, and invite like 6 startups who can present their ideas to you, and then you adopt one of them. If you could do that, I think that, our startup industries grow. Otherwise, we'll keep on talking, we'll keep on making conferences, we'll keep on saying that we are supporting startups, but nothing really will. I know there are a lot of startups that are coming up, but how can we accelerate it? Today, speed is not the word. Speed is not the word. It is not about how many kilometers you travel in a second. It is your speed. What is your speed in a second? It's acceleration. That's what we are talking about. So in order to accelerate, speed is not enough. You will have to continuously increase your speed. And to be able to do that is the private sector and the government that needs to work in tandem, hand in hand, and harmoniously. And I can assure you that, in our ministry, we have in our principal secretary, we have one of the brightest minds in terms of getting job done. I have on my diary, the only line that is there on the first page is, I love people who get job done. I think getting a job done is the most important thing. You cannot leave it halfway. So getting a job done, I think Mr. Rajiv Kumar, people who have interacted with him, he's very focused in getting a job, taking a job from point A to point B. And luckily, when things move fast, my name starts with B. So things reach my table very fast. So from point A, if it moves very fast, it comes to my table, the table of B, Babul Supriyo, B, it comes very fast. And then we can solve it, we can reach the goal that we want to reach very soon. This may be said in a jovial manner. I may have said it in a jovial manner, but that's exactly what I'm trying to say. I do not want to beat around the bush by saying that, we would love to have a lot of investments in the years to come. I would directly tell you that people who are there on the board and have not invested yet, who have invested only in today's conference by sponsoring this, fantastic. Thank you so much, sir. But invest on the land where this conference is being held. That's my simple message. And, IT sector is one sector where we can really create wonders. And if you see around the world, in the Silicon Valley, in everywhere, in different parts of the world, there are so many Bengalis that are, holding high posts. They have started companies, they've done so very well. I am saying Bengalis because there is a perception And it's a little, there's a little bit of truth behind it as well, that we have seen a lot of brain drain happening from India and also from different states, and which includes Bengal. So if you can create the right infrastructure, who wouldn't want to come back to Kolkata? Who wouldn't want to do their adda in Goriahat or Shambazar and yet work in the best of IT companies and earn the money that they want to earn? And that starts with you, it ends with you. We are just a catalyst who can speed up the chemical reaction. And it has to be an irreversible one, you know, where you really come and you invest your money here, you invest your brain here, you have institutions across the country, so you know how it works. We will make that particular system much more easier for you. This is the simple message that I wanted to give you. I think you are all aware what are the facilities that the government offers, what are the things that you can get when you come to Bengal. We are here from the IT Ministry to make that entire process much more harmonious for you. That's all I want to say. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for allowing me to speak for all of you. I hope that the lamp of knowledge and the lamp of endeavor, the lamp of inspiration has already been lit. But it has been very customary for me to go somewhere and then light up the lamp. It's like buy one, get one free. So when you have got a minister, get a lamp and get him to light it. But the lamp is already lit in the room. You have all delivered your speeches, and I'm sure you're going to have a great day of interactions. But I'll still do my ritual, and I hope that this conference today, it brings and throws some great light on the possibilities and the great future that this land of West Bengal holds in the future. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I mean, it's always an interesting thing to hear you and hear your thoughts. When we started this conceptualizing this session, we had gone to Mr. Rajiv Kumar and also to Minister in charge. We had a discussion. He was very, I should say, feet on the ground, told that bring in people who can invest and who are new in this region. And so we try to work along with that. And anytime we go to him, we always hear positive vibes and how to really create an environment where we can invest and make the IT hub more thriving. And I'm sure we'll have that in this today's conference. Thank you again. We appreciate your time to come here and provide your thought, no lecture, just a thought to us, so that we can really make things better and bigger for Bengal in IT. Thank you very much. Let's do the lamp lighting now.
Trust me, I don't like this. This is artificial intelligence. I don't want it. I actually want to walk to the lamp and light it myself. That's how you spread light. So this is fantastic. This is user friendly. This does not have the risk of fire or anything else. It eliminates the fire hazard. So that's all great. But still, when you start from the basics with the oil and with the what they have there, the cotton and everything, it is more brighter. But thank you so much for this fantastic artificial intelligence that made me light the lamp. I have nothing against artificial intelligence, but here in the room, we have human intelligence, and I would really want people who have not invested in Bengal to come here and invest here. Nothing more, nothing less. That's what it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's conclude this session, opening session. We'll quickly change over for the fireside chat.
Chairman, before we disperse, there's small memento, if you can kindly hand over. So, can we have the memento? So, may I request you to kindly hand over to the Honorable Minister. Next, the Principal Secretary. To Mr. Shekhar Sharma. Next to Mr. Deepak NG. To Mr. Sandeep Goel. To our own Shobhik Banerjee. To our co-chairman, Sanjay Sen. May I request John Kuruvilla to kindly hand over a memento to chairman? John is the regional director of CI Eastern Region. So with this, we come to the close of the inauguration, and we will quickly switch over to the fireside chat with Mr. Debashish Sen. So I would request everyone to be seated so that we can quickly have the changeover of the dais and we can start the session.